Ethan Parker stared out of the small viewport of the escape ship as the last flashes of his home planet disappeared behind the clouds of war. The city he had grown up in, the forests he had wandered as a child, the oceans he had learned to swim in, they were all gone now. Humanity had been cast out, banished from its own home by stronger powers in the galaxy. Fear, anger, and disbelief filled him, but above all, there was a burning need to survive. Around him, families whispered to each other. Children clung to their parents, and the silence of the void made every heartbeat sound louder. Clara Bennett, standing beside him, placed a hand on his shoulder. She did not speak, because there were no words that could comfort them. Her sharp eyes, always alert, scanned the dark space around them. She had been chosen to guide the settlers, to help them find a place to live when no one else would accept them. She knew the galaxy had underestimated humanity, and now, in exile, it was their chance to prove that humans were far stronger than anyone believed. The ships were small, built for speed and survival rather than comfort. Families were packed into cramped cabins, children pressed against walls, and the elderly tried to hide their fear. Ethan moved through the corridors, checking engines, checking life support, and making sure no one panicked. Every human on board needed to believe they could survive this, because panic could destroy them faster than the vacuum outside. The first weeks were the hardest. They drifted through uncharted space, living off what little supplies they had managed to bring. Water was rationed carefully, food was shared in small portions, and sleep was often interrupted by alarms warning of meteor storms or radiation pockets. Even small mistakes could be deadly. Many nights, Ethan sat by the ship's engines, quietly adjusting systems, praying that nothing would fail. Clara organized the people into teams. Some scavenged damaged ships for parts, others repaired life support systems, and some worked to grow food in tiny hydroponic gardens. It was hard, exhausting work, but slowly, humans began to adapt. Children learned to help, running errands, learning the systems, and even assisting in minor repairs. Everyone had a role, because in space, every role mattered. As weeks passed, the humans discovered a small, barren star system far from known trade routes or inhabited planets. The planets were rocky and dry, the moons unstable, and asteroids moved dangerously close to their path. Yet it was a start. They could land, build shelters, and begin life anew. Clara, Ethan, and the other leaders selected one planet as the main colony. They called it Haven, not because it was comfortable, but because it was a place where humans could try to survive. Landing was dangerous. The atmosphere was thin. Storms swept across the surface unpredictably, and the ground was jagged and uneven. Ships shook as they descended, and every human held their breath. When they finally touched down, a cheer erupted, but it was small and cautious. No one celebrated too loudly. They all knew this was only the beginning. The planet would test them in ways they had never imagined. The first months on Haven were a trial. Humans had to learn to farm in harsh soil, filter water from icy underground streams, and build shelters that could withstand violent storms. Nights were the hardest. Without the familiar constellations of their home, the sky felt empty, endless, and cold. Many settlers whispered about homesickness, about the friends and family they had lost, and about the galaxy that had thrown them away. Ethan worked tirelessly, inventing tools to make life easier. He created machines that could dig through rock, filters that could clean water more efficiently, and small generators that could survive the storms. Clara, meanwhile, worked with the settlers to organize defenses. Though they had no enemies here, the galaxy could still find them, and humans had learned that nothing in the stars was ever truly safe. Despite the hardships, a sense of hope began to grow. Children laughed as they learned to run across rocky fields, and families found comfort in small victories like a meal grown from tiny seeds or a shelter that survived a violent storm. The humans were learning something important. Survival was not just about strength, but about unity. Every person mattered, every action counted, and every day they lived, they became stronger together. One evening, as the two suns of Haven set, painting the sky in streaks of red and gold, Clara gathered the settlers around a small fire. She spoke quietly but firmly. "We have been cast out," she said. "The galaxy left us to die, but we are still here. Every day we survive, every machine we build, every storm we endure, it makes us stronger. One day they will see that humanity is not weak, not fragile, not a species to be ignored." Ethan listened, feeling a spark of pride. He remembered the last days on their home planet, the battles, the explosions, the fear, and he realized that humanity's greatest strength had always been its spirit. It was that spirit that had carried them across the void, through months of uncertainty, to this barren, harsh world. And it was that spirit that would allow them to thrive, even when the galaxy believed they could not. Over time, humans began to expand across the planets of the system. They built small outposts, hydroponic farms, and water purification centers. Each structure, no matter how simple, was a symbol of human determination. Every day, the settlers grew more skilled, more confident. They learned to read the weather patterns, mine valuable minerals from rocky surfaces, and repair ships using only the materials at hand. The children, who had known nothing but space and survival, grew stronger and smarter than any previous generation. They were taught not only to work, but to think, to invent, and to solve problems. Teachers like Laura Benson and Samuel Reed encouraged them to ask questions, to experiment, and to never fear failure. Mistakes were not punished but studied, because in survival, learning from errors was the key to life. Ethan worked closely with these young minds, teaching them engineering, navigation, and the mechanics of starships. Clara taught them strategy, leadership, and the importance of unity. Every adult contributed to the children's education because these children were humanity's future, and the leaders knew the galaxy had no idea what it had cast aside. Years passed. The barren world slowly transformed. Small forests grew under controlled environments, water flowed in channels and reservoirs, and homes became stronger and more comfortable. Yet the settlers never forgot the emptiness beyond their skies, the vast dark expanse where danger waited. The humans learned to watch, to listen, and to prepare. They were no longer just refugees. They were students of the universe, learning its rules and bending them to their advantage. One day, Ethan and Clara stood on a cliff overlooking a valley where the settlers had built a new community. Ships landed and took off with supplies, children played among the rocks, and adults worked tirelessly to improve life. "They think we are weak," Ethan said quietly, "but they have no idea what we are becoming." Clara nodded. "We have survived where others would have died. We have learned where others would have failed. And soon, we will be ready." The wind blew across the cliff, carrying dust and the faint hum of machinery. The two of them watched as the suns dipped below the horizon, painting Haven in deep oranges and purples. Somewhere in the galaxy, the empires that had exiled humanity were still thriving, still arrogant, still blind to the quiet revolution happening on this harsh little world. Humans were learning faster than anyone could imagine. They studied alien technologies left behind in abandoned fleets, experimented with energy sources far beyond simple nuclear reactions, and designed ships that could survive storms that would destroy most vessels. Every day was a test, and humanity passed each one with grit and determination. Even the elderly, who had seen their home destroyed and the galaxy turn its back on them, found new purpose. They trained the young, shared their memories, and taught lessons of courage, ingenuity, and hope. Every person had a role, and every role mattered. Survival was no longer enough. Humanity was preparing for something greater, a future the galaxy could not yet imagine. Months turned into years, and the first hints of the next stage of human evolution began to appear. Children born on Haven were stronger, faster, and more intelligent than their parents. They could survive longer without food, think faster in emergencies, and adapt to dangers instinctively. Humans were not just surviving, they were improving, becoming a species the galaxy might someday fear. Ethan and Clara, now older but still strong, walked through the bustling settlement one evening. Families laughed, workers repaired machinery, and children played under the fading light. Ethan looked at Clara and smiled faintly. "We have come a long way," he said. Clara smiled back, her eyes reflecting the last rays of the sun's. "And this is only the beginning," she replied. "The galaxy may have thrown us away, but it will not be able to ignore us forever." In the quiet of the night, as humans slept under the twin suns, the seeds of a new civilization were already taking root. Exiled, banished, and underestimated, humanity was learning that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, they could build something extraordinary. And when the time came, they would show the universe the true strength of a species that refused to die. Ethan sat at the edge of the settlement, watching the stars above. He thought of the galaxy that had turned its back on them, of the empires that had believed humanity was weak. He thought of the children playing below, of the machines they had built, of the knowledge they had gained. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something he had not felt since the war: hope. The humans of Haven had survived the impossible. They had adapted to a world that should have killed them. They had learned, grown, and changed in ways the galaxy would not expect. And somewhere, far beyond their skies, the stars were waiting for them. Years passed on Haven, and humanity began to change in ways no one could have imagined. The children born on this harsh world were no longer like the humans who had fled their home planet. They were stronger, faster, and smarter. Every generation learned from the mistakes of the past, and every day they became more skilled in survival, technology, and strategy. The people of Haven were no longer just exiles. They were becoming a new kind of human. Lucas Grant was one of the brightest minds among the younger generation. He had grown up repairing small machines with his father and had a natural understanding of how things worked. By the time he was a teenager, he was already designing small ships that could move faster than any vessel the galaxy had seen. Ethan Parker watched him with pride. "He is the future," Ethan said quietly to Clara Bennett. "He will build the ships that can carry humanity anywhere in the stars." Clara nodded, her eyes scanning the bustling settlement. Children ran across rocky plains carrying tools and helping in the fields. Adults moved through the workshops, building, repairing, and inventing. Every human had a role, and every role was important. Even the smallest tasks mattered because survival depended on unity and skill. Clara knew that one day this unity would become their greatest weapon. Hannah Cole, a wise and patient woman, worked tirelessly in the knowledge center of Haven. She had collected data from the ships they had scavenged in the void and had begun to study alien technologies. She taught humans how to understand energy sources far beyond anything they had known before. Power that once required massive reactors could now be contained in small devices. She also taught strategy, showing humans how to defend themselves, plan attacks, and think like their enemies. One morning, Lucas came running to Clara with sketches in his hands. "Look at this," he said excitedly. "A new ship design. It can travel faster than any fleet we've seen, and it can carry weapons we've never tested." Clara took the drawings and studied them carefully. The designs were bold and risky, but they worked. "If we build this," she said slowly, "humanity could explore far beyond this system and defend itself against anyone who tries to threaten us." The humans of Haven were learning quickly. They used their intelligence to make machines that were simple but powerful. Engines that could survive storms, shields that could block energy blasts, and weapons that could strike without warning. They also learned to move silently, hiding their activities from alien scouts. Every day they practiced survival drills, ship maneuvers, and battle simulations. The children learned as much as the adults, because everyone had to be ready. The galaxy, unaware of the transformation on Haven, continued as before. Powerful empires ruled their territories, trading, conquering, and ignoring the small exiles they had thrown into the void. No one expected anything from humanity, but the humans of Haven were learning to use that underestimation to their advantage. They trained in secret, built in secret, and prepared for the day when the galaxy would notice them. One day, a small alien survey ship appeared near the outer edge of the Haven system. The humans had seen such ships before, but this one came too close. Clara and Ethan watched the monitors with tense expressions. "They are testing us," Clara said. "They do not know what we are capable of yet, but soon they will learn." Lucas and his team worked quickly. They built a decoy system of small ships and drones to create illusions. When the alien ship approached, it detected dozens of vessels ready to attack. In reality, only a few small patrol ships existed. The alien crew panicked at the sight of what they thought was a full fleet and retreated immediately. The humans celebrated quietly. They had learned that strategy and intelligence could be more powerful than numbers. Haven became a training ground for a new kind of humanity. Every day, humans learned new skills, tested new technologies, and explored the nearby planets and asteroids. They discovered resources they could use to improve their ships, their weapons, and their lives. The settlements grew, becoming small cities with energy systems, schools, and workshops. Humanity was no longer struggling to survive. They were thriving. Ethan spent hours teaching the younger generation about the galaxy and its dangers. He told stories of their home planet, the war that had exiled them, and the mistakes they could not afford to repeat. Clara taught leadership and strategy, showing how small groups could overcome larger forces. Children like Lucas absorbed everything, asking questions, experimenting, and learning faster than their teachers expected. The humans of Haven also learned to work together in ways no alien species had ever seen. While empires relied on armies and fleets, humans combined intelligence, creativity, and courage. A small group could defeat a larger force if they worked as one. They practiced teamwork constantly, running exercises on both land and in space. Every person had to understand the role of every other person. Mistakes were studied and corrected immediately, ensuring that nothing could be repeated twice. One evening, as the twin suns set behind the mountains, Clara gathered the leaders of the colony. "The galaxy thinks we are weak," she said. "They think we cannot survive without them. But we have learned, we have adapted, we have become something they cannot predict. Soon, we will begin to show them what humanity truly is." Hannah spoke next, her voice calm but firm. "We have studied alien technology. We have improved it. We understand energy, movement, and strategy in ways the galaxy cannot imagine. Our time of hiding is ending. We must be ready for when they come to test us again." Ethan looked at the horizon, the stars beginning to shine in the night sky. "We will not wait to be attacked," he said. "We will be ready, and when they come, we will be more than they ever expected." Over the next decade, humans expanded further into the system. They built research stations, small factories, and training grounds. Every settlement became self-sufficient, capable of surviving storms, attacks, and shortages. The children learned faster than the adults, becoming engineers, pilots, and strategists at a young age. By the time they were teenagers, many could lead small groups and make decisions that older humans might hesitate to make. The first serious test came when a small alien scouting party entered the system. They were curious, arrogant, and unaware of the humans' progress. The humans responded with precision. Using small ships, drones, and energy traps, they disabled the alien fleet without losing a single human life. The aliens were stunned. They retreated, leaving messages warning other fleets to avoid the system. Word of humanity's cunning and strength began to spread in whispers. Lucas and Hannah worked together to improve the ships. Lucas designed engines that could move faster and more efficiently, while Hannah developed energy systems that could shield entire fleets. Children tested small drones, while adults practiced coordinating attacks. Every day, humans became smarter, faster, and more capable. The leaders of Haven realized that their exile had been a blessing in disguise. Forced to survive, humans had developed abilities and knowledge that no other species possessed. They could adapt, learn, and grow in ways that alien empires could not. And as the younger generation matured, humanity would no longer be a species to underestimate. It would become one to fear. One night, Ethan stood on a cliff overlooking the settlement. The air was thin, the wind cold, but the view was magnificent. Lights from workshops and homes sparkled like stars below, and in the sky, distant planets and asteroids moved silently. He thought about the galaxy beyond, the empires that had ignored them, and the lessons humanity had learned. "We have survived the impossible," he said softly, "and soon the galaxy will know it." Clara joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We are no longer just exiles," she said. "We are the future. The galaxy will learn that humanity is not weak, that we are not fragile. They will fear what they once thought was powerless." Lucas ran up to them, carrying new designs for ships that could travel between systems faster than anything known. "Look at this," he said excitedly. "We can explore beyond the system, and we can defend ourselves anywhere. No one will surprise us again." Ethan smiled, looking at the young man. "You have done well, Lucas. You and all of the younger generation are why humanity will not just survive. We will thrive." The humans of Haven had learned to work together, to survive the harshest conditions, and to improve every day. They had transformed from refugees into a species capable of incredible feats. They trained in every skill imaginable: engineering, combat, strategy, and survival. Every mistake was a lesson, every victory a step forward. And as the stars shone above, the humans looked up not with fear, but with determination. They knew that one day they would return to the galaxy not as weak exiles, but as a civilization that no one could ignore. The galaxy had thrown them away, but humanity had used exile to become stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than anyone had imagined. In the quiet night, Clara whispered, "The galaxy thinks we are small. They think we are weak. But we have learned. And soon, they will understand why humanity is never to be underestimated." Ethan watched the stars, thinking of the future. Children played in the distance, the workshops glowed with energy, and the wind carried the faint hum of machines. They were ready. Humanity had transformed, and the galaxy would soon see that the exiles of Haven had become something far greater than anyone expected. The humans of Haven had grown stronger with every passing year. Children born on the harsh planets of the system were now young adults, trained in survival, strategy, and technology. The settlements had expanded, and the workshops were filled with machines, ships, and devices that could rival those of the galaxy's empires. Yet, the galaxy remained unaware of the quiet revolution happening in this forgotten system. One morning, a signal appeared on the long-range sensors of the main colony. An alien fleet was moving toward the system, scanning planets, observing structures, and sending probes. They did not know exactly what they were approaching, but their arrogance led them to believe that humanity was still weak, desperate, and small. Clara Bennett watched the readings with a steady expression. "They are coming," she said. Her voice was calm, but her mind raced with strategies. "They think this is a simple, unimportant system. They will learn soon enough that they are wrong." Ethan Parker stood beside her, his hands folded behind his back. He had seen empires underestimate humanity before, and he knew their confidence would be their mistake. "We will not attack first," he said, "but we will be ready. Let them come. We have prepared for this moment for decades." The young fleet commander, Sophie Mitchell, was already coordinating ships and drones across the system. At just 25, she had proven herself in countless simulations and skirmishes. Her mind worked faster than most older officers, and she could predict enemy movements before the aliens themselves knew them. She studied the sensor screens, tracking the alien fleet, and devised a plan that combined speed, intelligence, and surprise. Lucas Grant, now in charge of engineering, moved quickly to retrofit the ships. Engines were calibrated, shields strengthened, and weapons tested. Every human, from the youngest pilot to the oldest engineer, was assigned a role. The humans of Haven had trained their entire lives for this moment, and now that it had arrived, every nerve and every skill would be tested. As the alien fleet entered the system, they sent a message demanding to meet with the leaders of Haven. "We come in peace," the message read, though the tone was clearly condescending. "Your people are weak. We only seek to observe." Clara read the message aloud to the council. "Peace?" she said softly. "They do not understand us yet." Instead of responding directly, Clara ordered the human ships to take positions around the main settlement. They hid in asteroid fields, behind moon craters, and among clouds of dust created by mining operations. The aliens assumed the system was lightly defended, unaware of the traps waiting for them. Every human pilot knew their role perfectly. Coordination had been drilled for decades, and even the youngest could follow the plan without hesitation. When the alien ships approached the settlement, the humans initiated the first phase of their defense. Small drones, invisible to long-range sensors, swarmed around the alien vessels, causing confusion. Energy pulses temporarily disabled some of the enemy's weapons, while decoy ships made it appear as though the human fleet was larger than it really was. The aliens panicked, unsure of the size and strength of their supposed prey. Sophie Mitchell led the human fleet with precision. "Engage the flanks," she ordered. "Do not fire until the signal. Wait for the moment they underestimate us." The young commander's words were calm, but inside, her mind raced through every possible outcome. She had trained for this scenario countless times, but now it was real. One mistake could destroy the fleet. When the signal was given, the humans struck with unexpected speed. Ships that had seemed harmless unleashed energy beams that disabled the alien engines. Shields absorbed attacks that should have destroyed them, and drones moved with terrifying accuracy. The alien commanders were stunned. They had believed humans to be weak, but the reality was far different. These were not desperate survivors. They were fighters, thinkers, and inventors all at once. Ethan Parker watched the battle unfold from the command center. "They will not retreat yet," he said quietly. "They will test our strength further. We must be ready." Clara nodded. "Let them come. Every move they make only shows us how they think, and we will use that knowledge." Lucas Grant adjusted the energy cores of the main fleet, sending bursts of power to weapons and shields. Even small adjustments could make a huge difference in a battle like this. He felt a thrill as the human systems performed flawlessly under stress. The aliens had underestimated them, and now humanity's planning and preparation were paying off. The battle lasted for hours. Alien ships tried to regroup, but every maneuver had been anticipated. The humans used the environment to their advantage, hiding in asteroid fields and using gravity wells to trap enemy vessels. Small teams attacked larger ships with precision strikes, disabling engines and communication systems without destroying entire vessels. The humans were careful not to waste resources. Knowing that survival was more than just winning one fight, it was about learning, adapting, and growing stronger. Sophie Mitchell coordinated a daring maneuver that would become famous among humans for generations. She led a small squad of ships through a dense asteroid belt, appearing suddenly behind the alien fleet. From there, they attacked vital systems, causing chaos and confusion. The aliens had no idea how such a small group could be so effective, but the humans had trained every young pilot to think creatively and act decisively. Hannah Cole monitored the battle from the Knowledge Center. She had predicted some of the aliens' strategies, but the humans were already thinking beyond her expectations. The energy systems, the drones, and the fleet movements worked together seamlessly, showing a level of coordination no alien species had ever encountered. "They are learning faster than we thought," she whispered to Ethan. "Faster than anyone in the galaxy could predict." By the end of the day, the alien fleet was forced to retreat. Several ships were damaged, engines destroyed, and communication disrupted. The humans had not lost a single life. They had defended their homes, tested their skills in real combat, and shown the galaxy that the species it had discarded was far stronger than anyone had imagined. The settlers of Haven cheered quietly. They had faced their first real challenge, and they had survived with skill and intelligence. The children who had grown up learning strategy and technology now understood what it meant to fight for their homes. Every human felt a sense of pride, but also a realization the galaxy was watching, and humanity's actions would not go unnoticed. Ethan Parker addressed the council. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They came to test us, and we showed them what humans can do. But we must continue to learn, to train, and to prepare. The galaxy will not leave us alone for long." Clara nodded. "And when they return, they will find a civilization far stronger than the one they thought they had cast out." Lucas Grant began designing new ships immediately. Lessons from the battle had shown weaknesses that needed improvement. Faster engines, stronger shields, and new energy weapons were all in development. Every human worked tirelessly to ensure that the next encounter would be even more in their favor. The young pilots, including Sophie Mitchell, trained constantly. They ran simulations of different battle scenarios, learning to anticipate enemy strategies. Even minor mistakes were analyzed and corrected. Humanity had learned that victory was not about luck. It was about preparation, adaptation, and intelligence. Hannah Cole continued to study alien communications, learning how other species thought, fought, and governed. This knowledge became invaluable, allowing humans to predict moves before enemies made them. Strategy, technology, and adaptability became the cornerstones of their civilization. Months passed, and the alien fleet returned, this time with more ships. But humanity was ready. The lessons from the first battle had been studied, improvements had been made, and the humans were stronger, faster, and more coordinated. When the aliens arrived, they found not desperate refugees, but a civilization prepared to defend itself and capable of surprising even the most experienced commanders. Sophie Mitchell led the new engagement. Using every technique learned and invented, the humans struck with precision. Drones disrupted sensors, ships appeared where they should not, and weapons disabled engines and shields with frightening efficiency. The alien commanders began to panic, realizing that humanity was not the same species they had underestimated before. Ethan and Clara watched from the command center, pride and satisfaction in their eyes. The humans of Haven had passed the first true test of their civilization. They had defended their homes, defeated a larger and better-equipped enemy, and learned that unity, intelligence, and adaptability could overcome almost any obstacle. By the end of the conflict, The aliens retreated once again. This time they did not send messages of peace or warnings. They simply left, leaving humans to wonder if they would ever return. The galaxy had begun to take notice, quietly observing the system and the civilization that had grown in isolation. Whispers spread among the empires. The humans of Haven, they are not weak. They are clever, dangerous, and unpredictable. Ethan Parker walked among the young pilots after the battle. He saw the pride in their eyes, the excitement of those who had survived and triumphed. "Remember this feeling," he said softly. "This is what it means to be human, strong, smart, and unafraid. Never forget that, and the galaxy will never underestimate us again." Clara joined him, looking at the stars above. "We have shown the galaxy our strength," she said. "But this is only the beginning. There will be other challenges, other fleets, and other empires that will test us. We must continue to grow, to learn, and to prepare. Humanity cannot stop here." The humans of Haven returned to their work, rebuilding ships, improving technology, and training the next generation. They had proven that even a species cast out, exiled, and underestimated could become a force the galaxy would fear. Every day, humans became smarter, stronger, and more capable. They were no longer refugees. They were a civilization ready to take its place among the stars. And as the twin suns set over the settlement, casting long shadows over the rocky landscape, the humans of Haven knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen their strength for the first time, and soon it would learn the full power of a species that refused to be defeated. Humanity had faced its first challenge, and it had triumphed. The stars above were no longer distant and empty. They were a horizon full of possibility, a future waiting to be claimed, and a universe that had underestimated the wrong species. Humanity would never be weak again. They had survived the impossible, and the galaxy was beginning to notice. The humans of Haven had survived their first battles, but they knew the galaxy would not forget. News of their victories had spread quietly at first, whispered among alien traders, explorers, and spies. Every empire had heard of the strange system where humans lived, a system that no one expected to defend itself, and yet every fleet that entered had been driven away or defeated with precision. Clara Bennett walked among the people of the main colony, watching the children train and the adults repair ships. The system was growing into something more than a settlement. It was becoming a civilization. "They think we are small," she said to Ethan Parker as they observed the training exercises. "They think we are weak. Soon they will fear us." Ethan nodded. "We have shown them a spark of what we are capable of," he replied. "Now we must fan it into a flame they cannot ignore." The humans had learned that strength alone was not enough. They needed speed, intelligence, and the ability to strike when the enemy least expected it. They had trained for years in preparation, and now the galaxy was beginning to realize that they had underestimated the wrong species. Lucas Grant oversaw the construction of new ships. The designs were faster, stronger, and more flexible than before. Energy shields could withstand direct hits from alien weaponry, engines allowed ships to accelerate faster than most known fleets, and the weapons were precise, efficient, and deadly. Young engineers, taught by Lucas and others, worked tirelessly, learning to think creatively and solve problems quickly. Every ship built was a statement. Humanity would no longer be weak. Sophie Mitchell led a squadron of pilots in daily exercises. They moved through asteroid belts, hiding in shadows, and simulating attacks that could disable entire fleets. Every young pilot learned the art of anticipation, strategy, and precision. The children who had grown up in exile were now adults, capable of making split-second decisions that could change the course of battle. The first warning from the galaxy came in the form of scouts. Alien spies tried to enter the system, hoping to observe the humans and learn their weaknesses. but every move was anticipated. The humans had learned to detect intruders, set traps, and mislead the enemy. When the scouts approached, they found empty systems or decoy fleets. Many of the alien scouts did not return to report what they had seen, and those who did returned with fear in their eyes. Hannah Cole studied every message, every report, and every observation. She knew that intelligence was now humanity's most powerful weapon. By understanding the galaxy's weaknesses, predicting enemy strategies, and preparing countermeasures, humans could control the battlefield before it even began. "They are afraid of us," she said quietly to Clara. "They do not know it yet, but soon they will." Soon, the first empires began to take notice. Small fleets were dispatched not to conquer, but to observe and measure the humans. They wanted to see if the rumors were true, that a species cast out of the galaxy had grown strong enough to challenge them. When these fleets entered the system, they found not desperation, but preparation. The humans had hidden their strength, and now it became clear how advanced they had become. Lucas Grant led the effort to upgrade the fleet further. Every ship was tested under extreme conditions. Weapon systems were improved, shields were strengthened, and engines were calibrated for maximum speed. Young engineers worked alongside the older generation, learning, experimenting, and improving designs. It was not just technology that advanced, but the humans themselves. They were faster, smarter, and more adaptable than the galaxy expected. Sophie Mitchell trained her pilots in maneuvers that seemed impossible. Ships moved in patterns that confused sensors, drones created false targets, and small fleets could appear as a massive force. The aliens had expected predictable humans, but what they found was clever, resourceful, and relentless. Every simulation prepared the young pilots for real encounters, and every success built confidence. The galaxy began sending envoys to propose treaties, trade, or observation rights. Most of these envoys were cautious, attempting diplomacy without aggression. But the humans of Haven were no longer desperate refugees. They were confident and prepared. Clara led the diplomatic efforts, speaking firmly, offering alliances only on terms favorable to humanity. "We survived alone," she said in one meeting. "We learned, we grew, and we will continue to do so with or without you. Respect that, and we can work together. Do not, and you will see what we can do." Some empires tried to test humanity with small attacks, probing for weaknesses. Each time, they were met with precise countermeasures. Ships disappeared into asteroid belts, only to strike unexpectedly. Drones disabled engines and communications. The humans moved with intelligence and coordination that surprised every alien observer. The galaxy began to whisper, "The humans are clever. They are dangerous. They are not to be underestimated." Ethan Parker walked through the workshops, observing the engineers. Young people moved quickly, learning from every failure, improving designs, and creating new technologies. "They are learning faster than anyone expected," he said to Clara. "Every fleet that comes will face humans who are smarter, faster, and stronger than before." Clara nodded. "They will come, and they will try to dominate, but the humans of Haven are ready. They will not be controlled, and they will not be ignored." The settlers of Haven worked tirelessly. Every building, ship, and machine was a testament to human determination. Every lesson learned from past battles was applied to ensure the future of their civilization. One day, a large fleet appeared near the system. It was clearly meant to intimidate, to show the humans that resistance was pointless. But the humans were ready. Sophie Mitchell coordinated the fleet with skill, moving ships in patterns that confused sensors and misled the enemy. Lucas Grant's ships struck with precision, disabling engines and shields without unnecessary destruction. The battle lasted days. Alien commanders were frustrated, unable to predict human tactics. Each maneuver was met with countermeasures, every weakness anticipated. Hannah Cole's intelligence work allowed humans to strike at critical systems while avoiding unnecessary risk. The humans fought not with reckless aggression, but with careful strategy, showing intelligence and restraint. After the battle, the alien fleet withdrew. The message they left behind was clear. Humanity could not be ignored. Stories of their clever strategies, rapid adaptation, and unstoppable resilience spread across the galaxy. Every empire began to reconsider their approach to humans. They were no longer weak, exiled, or desperate. They were clever, powerful, and dangerous. Clara Bennett addressed the people of Haven. "They see us now," she said. "They know what we are capable of, but we must continue to grow, to learn, and to prepare. The galaxy will not stop testing us, and we must be ready for whatever comes next." Ethan Parker walked beside her, looking at the young pilots training on the planes below. "They will never forget us again," he said. "And one day, the galaxy will learn that humans are a force that cannot be ignored, defeated, or controlled." The humans of Haven expanded further into the system, building new colonies and fortresses. Every settlement became self-sufficient, every fleet well-trained, and every citizen skilled in survival and strategy. Children were taught from a young age how to think, adapt, and lead. By the time they reached adulthood, they were capable of incredible feats of intelligence, courage, and skill. Lucas Grant designed new engines that allowed ships to travel farther and faster than any fleet in the galaxy. Sophie Mitchell taught young pilots to anticipate enemy movements and react instantly. Hannah Cole studied every alien strategy she could find, ensuring that humans were always one step ahead. The settlers of Haven were no longer just surviving, they were thriving, evolving into a civilization the galaxy would fear and respect. Even the older generation, who had survived the exile and the first battles, found purpose and pride in the transformation. They trained the young, shared their experience, and passed down the lessons of survival, resilience, and unity. Every human contributed, every action mattered, and every day they became stronger. As word of humanity's strength spread, some empires sought alliances rather than confrontation. They realized that humans could not be defeated by brute force, and they needed cleverness, speed, and resilience on their side. Clara Bennett met with these envoys carefully, negotiating terms that favored humanity while ensuring they remained independent and strong. Ethan Parker observed the meetings quietly. He understood that the galaxy would now respect humans, not because of fear alone, but because of intelligence, strategy, and courage. "They have learned too late," he said. "They thought humans were weak. They will not make that mistake again." The humans of Haven looked to the stars not with fear, but with determination. Every planet, every ship, and every human was a statement. They had survived the impossible, and they were ready to face any challenge. The galaxy had begun to fear humanity, and that fear would only grow as humans continued to expand, learn, and demonstrate their power. Sophie Mitchell trained tirelessly with young pilots, preparing them for fleets larger and more dangerous than any they had faced. Lucas Grant designed ships that could outmaneuver even the fastest alien vessels. Hannah Cole continued to study alien strategies, always finding new ways to improve human tactics. And Clara and Ethan guided the civilization, ensuring that humanity remained united, clever, and fearless. The humans of Haven had become more than a settlement. They had become a civilization that combined intelligence, courage, and innovation. The galaxy had begun to notice, and the empires that had once dismissed them now whispered about the power that had grown in the forgotten system. And as the twin suns set over the settlements, casting long shadows over the rocky landscapes, the humans of Haven knew the truth. They were no longer a species to be ignored, underestimated, or controlled. Humanity had grown strong, clever, and unafraid. The galaxy had learned to fear them, and that fear would continue to spread as humans claimed their place among the stars. The settlers looked to the sky with hope and determination. They knew the galaxy would challenge them again, and they would be ready. Every child, every ship, and every settlement was part of a civilization that had grown from exile to power. And soon, the galaxy would understand fully that humanity was a species unlike any other, clever, resourceful, and unstoppable. The humans of Haven had grown into a civilization unlike any the galaxy had seen before. Exiled and underestimated, they had learned to survive, adapt, and thrive. Ships now patrolled the planets of the system, and every settlement was fortified, self-sufficient, and ready for any challenge. Humanity was no longer weak. They had become clever, strong, and fearless. Ethan Parker walked through the central city of the main colony, watching as young pilots ran simulations, engineers repaired and improved ships, and children studied strategy and science. The humans had become a species of thinkers and fighters, inventors and leaders. Every citizen, from the youngest to the oldest, contributed to the growth of the civilization. "They have come far," he said quietly to Clara Bennett, who walked beside him. "They are everything we hoped they would become, and more." Clara nodded, her eyes scanning the bustling activity. "The galaxy has begun to fear us," she said, "and rightly so. We have survived every test, learned every lesson, and grown stronger with every challenge. Humanity is no longer something the galaxy can ignore." Lucas Grant walked past them, carrying blueprints for a new fleet of ships. Engines were faster, shields stronger, and weapons more precise than anything seen in the galaxy. Every design had been tested, improved, and refined by the humans of Haven. Lucas stopped to look at the young engineers working alongside him. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Every ship we build is another step toward showing the galaxy what humans can do." Sophie Mitchell was already leading a training exercise. Pilots raced through asteroid fields, practicing maneuvers that could outsmart even the most advanced alien fleets. Every pilot learned strategy, coordination, and quick thinking. No one moved alone. Every decision was part of a larger plan, and every mistake was corrected immediately. Sophie watched with pride as her students performed flawlessly. The galaxy had begun to take notice in more serious ways. Alien governments sent envoys to propose alliances, trade agreements, and observation treaties. Some sought to learn from humans, others to control them. But Clara and the Council of Haven knew their value. Humans were strong, clever, and independent, and they would not bow to anyone. Every negotiation was calculated, every decision measured to strengthen humanity's position. Ethan Parker stood before the council, speaking of the future. "We are no longer refugees," he said. "We are a civilization that has proven itself, a species that can survive and thrive anywhere. The galaxy has seen what we can do, and soon they will understand fully. But our strength must be maintained, and our people must continue to grow, learn, and adapt." The humans of Haven expanded further, sending fleets to explore nearby systems. They discovered planets rich in resources, asteroid fields suitable for mining, and regions ideal for new settlements. Every exploration mission was carefully planned, using intelligence gathered from previous battles and studies of alien behavior. They moved quietly, never underestimating the challenges of the galaxy and never underestimating themselves. Sophie Mitchell led one of the exploration fleets, accompanied by young pilots who had grown up learning to anticipate danger and respond with precision. The fleet moved with skill, avoiding hazards, mapping new planets, and collecting resources. Every pilot knew that survival depended on teamwork, intelligence, and courage. The humans of Haven were no longer just surviving. They were expanding, learning, and building a reputation that would spread across the stars. Hannah Cole studied alien communications and behavior constantly. Her work allowed humans to predict movements, strategies, and decisions before alien leaders could act. Her intelligence network became the backbone of humanity's power, providing information that allowed Lucas to improve ships, Sophie to plan missions, and Clara and Ethan to make decisions that kept humans ahead of any threat. Even the older generation, who had survived exile and the first battles, took pride in the young. They trained the children, shared their knowledge, and ensured that every human understood the lessons of survival, resilience, and unity. The older humans knew that their work would live on in the next generation, creating a civilization that could never be defeated by brute force alone. One day, a large fleet from a powerful alien empire entered the region. They intended to intimidate, believing humans were clever but still fragile. But they found something entirely unexpected. The humans of Haven had anticipated this, preparing ambushes, traps, and tactics designed to confuse and weaken any fleet that underestimated them. Ships moved in coordinated patterns, drones disabled engines, and energy systems disrupted communications. The alien fleet was thrown into chaos. Sophie Mitchell led the strike force, moving swiftly through asteroid belts and hidden channels. Every maneuver had been practiced, every pilot knew their role, and every action was part of a larger strategy. The aliens tried to regroup, but humanity's preparation was flawless. One by one, their ships were disabled or forced to retreat, unable to predict the human tactics. The battle lasted for days, testing the skill, endurance, and intelligence of every human involved. Yet by the end, the aliens retreated, leaving the humans unscathed. The galaxy began to whisper the name of humanity with caution and fear. Stories spread of a species exiled and underestimated, now capable of defeating fleets larger and more advanced than their own. Ethan Parker stood on the cliff overlooking the settlement, watching the celebrations. Children laughed, pilots repaired ships, and engineers worked tirelessly. Humanity had survived every test and had shown the galaxy its strength. "They will not forget us," he said quietly. Clara joined him, looking at the horizon. "No, they will not," she replied, "and they will remember why humanity can never be ignored." As decades passed, humans expanded even further. New settlements were established on distant planets. Fleets explored unknown systems, and technology continued to advance at an unprecedented rate. The settlers of Haven became explorers, inventors, strategists, and diplomats. Every human was trained to think, adapt, and act decisively. Lucas Grant continued to design ships that outperformed alien fleets. Sophie Mitchell trained the next generation of pilots, ensuring that every human could defend their people and outthink any opponent. Hannah Cole built a network of intelligence that allowed humans to anticipate threats before they could arrive. The older generation, including Ethan and Clara, continued to guide humanity, ensuring that lessons of resilience, unity, and courage were never forgotten. The galaxy slowly came to respect humanity. Powerful empires sought alliances rather than conflict, recognizing that humans were clever, resourceful, and independent. Some tried to learn from them, while others attempted to negotiate favorable terms. Every interaction with humans required caution, as even diplomacy could be a test of intelligence and strategy. Humanity's reputation became legendary. Tales spread across systems of humans who survived exile, defeated powerful fleets, and transformed barren worlds into thriving civilizations. The galaxy realized that this species, once discarded and underestimated, was now one of the most formidable forces in existence. Ethan Parker, now older, walked through the settlement with Clara Bennett. "We started with nothing," he said. "No allies, no support, just hope and determination. And now?" He looked at the bustling city, the training fields, and the fleets preparing for exploration. "Now, The galaxy knows humanity's strength." Clara smiled. "And they will never forget it. Humanity has proven that it cannot be ignored, conquered, or destroyed. Our exile became our advantage, and our spirit became our power. We have shown them what it means to survive, adapt, and thrive." The humans of Haven continued to expand, exploring uncharted systems, establishing new colonies, and building fleets capable of defending every corner of their civilization. Every child was taught strategy, survival, and innovation from an early age. Every adult contributed to the growth of society, whether through engineering, leadership, or education. Humanity had built a civilization that was self-sufficient, intelligent, and ready for any challenge. Sophie Mitchell led a young pilot through a test mission in a distant asteroid field. The student executed maneuvers with precision, showing that the next generation was ready. "You are ready," Sophie said proudly. "One day, you will lead fleets that protect humanity and show the galaxy our strength." Lucas Grant examined the engines of a new fleet of ships. "Every design we build," he said, "is another statement. Humanity is clever, adaptable, and unstoppable. We are no longer the species they cast aside. We are something far greater." Hannah Cole monitored messages from distant systems, analyzing intelligence reports and diplomatic exchanges. "They fear us," she said quietly to Clara. "They do not understand us, and they do not expect what we will do next. That fear will give us an advantage the galaxy cannot match." The humans of Haven had learned that true strength was not just in ships or weapons. It was in intelligence, strategy, unity, and courage. They had survived exile, adapted to harsh worlds, and overcome impossible challenges. Every human had a role, every skill was valuable, and every victory built confidence and knowledge. As the twin suns of Haven set, casting long shadows over the rocky landscapes, the humans looked to the stars with determination. They had faced exile, hardship, and doubt, and had triumphed. The galaxy had begun to fear them, and that fear would only grow. Humanity was no longer just a species. It was a civilization, clever, resilient, and unstoppable. Ethan Parker stood on the cliff, watching the young pilots train in the distance. "We have survived everything," he said softly. "And now, the galaxy will know humanity's true strength." Clara Bennett placed her hand on his shoulder. "They will learn," she said. "And when they do, they will understand that humans are not to be underestimated. We have forged a civilization from exile, and that civilization will last for generations." The humans of Haven had become more than survivors. They had become explorers, leaders, and legends. The galaxy had begun to recognize their power, and soon, every empire would understand that humanity was clever, resourceful, and unstoppable. Exiled once, underestimated once, they had now become a force that could not be ignored. The stars above shone brightly, reflecting the future that humanity had earned. Settlements glimmered, ships moved across the skies, and humans worked tirelessly to expand their civilization. Every day they learned, improved, and prepared for whatever challenges the galaxy might send. Humanity had survived the impossible. They had grown stronger, smarter, and more united than any species in the galaxy. They had transformed exile into power, fear into respect, and determination into legend. And as the suns disappeared behind the horizon, the humans of Haven knew one truth above all else. The galaxy would never forget humanity again.